I'm pretty anti Office products, mostly because of Teams. I just hate Teams so much. I think it's
Yeah.
such a poorly designed product when comparing it to Slack. I don't know if you use Teams at all, but it's a pain.
Now I'm thinking to me, you got a name, feature Tinder. Yeah, that's cool.
That's super creative. I've never heard of anything like that, but that's I could see how a lot of companies might enjoy that.
Yeah. And yeah, this was my start to be an in-house consultant for Atlassian tools, Jira, Confluence, and then we started to get the first process, the first project, first automations, first customizations in Jira. So I have done this for 13 years in one company, and then we had so much customizing and so many people we have shown it, and they said, yeah, that's really cool stuff. You made it the last years, and then I decided to go to found Jab Connect, and maybe to do this things for more than one company. So now we are connected to many customers who are using Jira because we're specialized in Jira, and we work with their internal Jira teams. So we don't do things for our customers. We create new things together with our customers. Yeah, and maybe we show them how it's possible in Jira. Yeah, yeah, that's in the very short way my life with Atlassian tools. Yeah,
So your first exposure was actually Confluence and not
yeah,
Jira, or most people kind of get exposed to Jira or maybe Trello or something, but from your perspective, it was Confluence.
yeah.
What was your thought of Jira once you jumped into that?
Very cool because I had an idea what we can do with this tool, how we can in an abstract way how we can implement many things because I thought each department we're working with many process, and so we started with very small ideas, and the process was already getting bigger and bigger. We had made many things in Java for things not or Java is not made for it. We decided to implement this, and it was like learning by doing, and we have done very much. So we have learned very much, and so I think Jira was the start of very big process. Yeah, I jumped into it. Was easy to go with this. I think it was Jira 3 version 3, I think it was, or 4.3, something like this. So it was a start with Jira. Yeah, very
Hmm.
cool.
Okay. I've also come across a lot of use cases or implementations where Jira wasn't like built for that, but you can kind of make it work. And the way that Jira is so customizable, you can implement things that it wasn't necessarily even built for. What were some of the more unique things that you've done in the past that you think were, maybe not even possible at first, but then eventually you were able to get it to work?
Yeah. So the first thing was oh, I spoiler a little bit. I have to the last thing. Maybe we can make it in the end of the show. I have an idea. I've developed it 4 years ago, I think, or 6 years ago, and I'm on my way to show it to Atlassian. Maybe they will implement it in product discovery, but I think that will be the last thing I will say today. We implemented like today it's with AI machine learning things. So how machines, which are producing anything, are connecting to Jira. So we made it 13 years ago in 2012 to connect to Jira and like maintenance tasks, create maintenance tasks automatically. So the machines, what they have not learned by themselves, but we created some values when they have to create a new ticket, new issue. I think 13 years ago it was a very cool thing because we got nothing without only script runner. So today you have many apps. You can implement many apps. You can do many things. So 13 years ago we had only script runner, and it was all in that. This was very cool. Then we created another thing without asset management. I have to say it because the time we created it, inside was not even born. So now everything is used in assets, and then we created issues and make an and database with issues, with information in these issues, and made post functions with their intelligence. So we created automatic, so automations were always not implemented in Jira server. So we implemented automations in case of post functions and put the data in the issues. And so we automatize many process over the year. The tasks were automatically created. This was made for taxes all over Europe. So with informations for taxes, I think because it's also 11 years ago, it was very nice. 11 years ago, today, I think you have AI automations in Jira Cloud. So you put 2 lines in it and you get it. So it's very cool today, but 11 years ago, it was not there. Now I have to think what other things I have created, which are
Sounds
not.
like you're like way ahead of the curve. You were doing AI, you were doing assets before it was even a thing in Jira, which is super cool and kind of crazy that Jira pulled those things in eventually.
Yeah, we now it's called SO, but we made the same thing. We made a database, or we created new tables in Jira database, basically, and put our values in there, and that's it. And today it's the same thing with one difference, and the values I have to change by myself because I said, okay, this machine we have to make a maintenance 1 day earlier or 10,000 steps earlier. So today the machine is learning this by themselves in case of AI. And yeah, we had to change it manually. Yeah, and that's I often telling this story and say, yeah, and we made it 13 years ago. So we can now create much more, even better things. Yeah, in this case, yeah.
So were you building these in data center and server primarily?
Now we are building it in both. All my customers have data center instances. We're migrating them this year or next year. So we have to rebuild all our customizations in the Jira Cloud. Many things are in Jira Cloud possible by Jira tools, so we don't have to invest so much work in it. But if we now create new things, we have created now an overview for log work for an own user. So they have in Script Runner, they have an overview only for themselves. So because I'm an external employee for my customers and they have to track my work. So I implemented this for myself and they said it's very cool. Let's do it for all our employees. We built this in Jira Data Center and in Jira Cloud because now we know my employees, now that's each feature we create now, we have to create in both instances. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So with such complex things that you're building out, well, it's obviously implemented now with assets and AI, but I'm sure there's a lot of other things that you're custom developing on the data center platform. Do you find a lot of limitations when you go to cloud and certain things you maybe cannot do at that point?
We have to rethink the way we go. So in Jira Cloud, we have more REST endpoints, so we have to use them. But now the technology changed in other tools also. So we have SAP L3 system, it's called, the old system. Now with SAP HANA, is with S4, and we can use their interface. So it's much easier. I think the most important, what everyone has to know is put Jira in the center, as a center hub in the middle. Because if you will connect to SAP, it's very difficult because you have to get connection with the SAP consultants. And we have to talk about the technology and the resolution. If you switch it and you say you will send data to SAP, we switch it. We say, okay, if we will not sending data, SAP is asking for data because it's much easier. They can trigger the Jira REST API and they get a response. And I think 10, 12 years ago, we made everything in a different way. And now we are switching because it's much easier to get the information from the REST API from Jira. We got reporting tools on databases, on data center or server. So, and now we have to switch on enterprise to analytics, Atlassian Analytics, or we have to go to Power BI connector or anything like this. So, we have to do it in another way, and maybe we have to buy an app. It's okay. Maybe we have to create an own scripted app, or in Forge or in Script Runner. Yeah.
You mentioned a lot of your clients are going from data center to cloud. Do you have any or do those clients have any hesitation when moving to cloud with, maybe feature loss or security or things of that nature?
They say, each customer say before they start, we don't want to pay more. We don't want to lost features. And this is a start, but then they get much more features, even if I show them how we create now automations and how we create it with AI. It's now, I think, let's say you need 5 or 10 minutes to create anything. In AI, you need only 2 minutes. So if they seeing this value they get out of the cloud, so they forget about it. It has to cost even the same. We don't want to lose features. 2 or 4 years ago, it was very, very difficult to get them on this mindset. Let's go to the cloud. I live in Germany, so the German customers need to get more trust in it. They're all using Microsoft Office 365. All is in the cloud. SAP is in the cloud. But Jira, they had a problem with it, but it's switching now. So the last year it was also switching, but this year I think everybody's fine with this to go in the Jira cloud. So yeah, they needed a little bit more time for it. Yeah.
With those AI automations, are you talking about the feature where you pretty much tell it the automation you'd like and it implements it for you? Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
useful have you found that to be? Because I feel like every time I try it, it doesn't do exactly what I want, and I have to restructure the entire thing.
Maybe you
Where's my use case too advanced? It's more for simple.
it's too advanced. It's the one thing. Maybe you put your use case not with the right words, or it's too advanced. So, what use case you had?
Well,
Let's talk
usually
about
it's
this.
not simple things because I feel like simple things, I'm so familiar with the interface. It's faster for me to go in and do exactly what I need if
Yeah.
it's a
Okay.
3-step
Yeah.
rule than to use AI. It's usually more when I can't figure something out and then I'm like, hey, how do I do this? Or like implement this for me. For example, update an asset, pull this information, add this smart
Mm.
value, and it just does not do remotely what I'm asking for in that scenario. Again, probably because it's too complex since I don't really use it for the simple items. But yeah, I guess it might get there eventually, but for me, it's hard to use it today.
We have prepared use cases and we copy pasted. So we have
Oh,
created
okay.
one use case with many text. So let's say onboarding tasks or any templates, you need to create templates in an automation. So let's say I have my text boxes and I put in and say trigger is create an issue. So I create an epic or a task and I want to create subtasks. So I give him a predefined text whereas listed create for me 6 subtasks and these are the features and bam, 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 bam. And this is a custom field. So we have the text values prepared. We have some variables. We remove it with the things we want to get there. So, and then I put the whole text, copy it inside, and then let's say 1 minute later, it's done. So I don't need to check it. But we have a few templates and we copy paste it only. So we have done it only one time and now we are copying again.
That makes more sense. Yeah, I've also tried something similar in Zapier. I don't know if you're familiar with their implementation, and they connect with a lot of apps, and they have
Yeah,
the same thing where you type in your prompt and it builds
yeah,
it for
yeah.
you.
You mean
Man,
Zapier,
it does not work.
which is able to connect to HubSpot? This is Zapier. This is Zapier, you mean? No?
Yeah, it could do
Yeah,
HubSpot, it could do
yeah,
Jira, it could do, I would say like most bigger applications, it has
yeah.
some connectors to it. It's a little bit more limited. It's not like a full blown API or anything like that, but as more basic connections. And yeah, anytime I ask it to create something for me, it's so simple and it's not what I asked for. And maybe I'm just prompting it wrong, but yeah, it's just not very useful as of today.
Yeah. I was asking myself if I use Zapier for the first time to connect HubSpot, um, to make an onboarding for new customers. So you create a customer in HubSpot and you will trigger Jira automation to create your onboarding tasks. I was surprised that it's so easy to get because I was thinking, okay, how we can connect HubSpot, and we found Zapier and used it, and I say, wow, and it is. I think it's for free. For us, it was for free. I said, wow, cool. So I was very surprised that it was so easy to use for connecting HubSpot.
Yeah, it's great for like basic things. When it gets to more advanced workflows, it kind of falls apart, especially when an endpoint doesn't exist. For example, with Confluence, I can't use Zapier to find an existing
Mm.
page. It only has a connector for creating a new page. So that's where it kind of falls apart, where other tools and even the API allows you to search for an existing page. So it can be really great, but it is a little bit limited, and you have to work around some of those little things that aren't quite there. Would be really great if they had like a full blown API connector too. I know like make.com. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. That kind of is similar to Zapier, and it's becoming more widely used, but it has a lot more customization into the tool itself. You could send a lot of webhooks, more complex API requests. Oftentimes it has more connectors to different applications. The only downfall is that it's not quite as easy, and its connections to the application it has are more limited. So it might not have certain tools that are a little bit more niche, whereas Zapier is like the gold standard, and pretty much every team or every organization that built an application integrates with Zapier just for people to utilize, since it's such a big tool these days. Yeah, and any other creative implementations that you've seen in cloud, and specifically, just curious if there's some pitfalls that
Um,
you've helped solve for teams.
not yet. I have to think about it. What implementation we got in cloud? So I'm I think 1 year ago we started to use in Confluent to search like for we have implemented many things and make our um data sets in Confluence and our playbooks in Confluence. So it's easy to ask, like, let's take Zapier. We have implemented a knowledge base article in Confluence, so we can write, okay, hey, how I can connect Zapier to HubSpot. And they will not only, the Confluence AI will not show us the knowledge base article, they will show us the bullet points, what we have to do to connect it. That's very nice. So you not only get like the old Confluence search, the knowledge base article, you get the solution listed, and I think that's very cool. But that's default AI feature. That's not anything special to get implemented. And for other Jira Cloud things, I think I have to more about it here because
Mm.
now I
What about like Rovo and some of their workflows? Have you had a chance to play around with those yet
no,
and implement those? Not yet.
I had not
Has
yet.
any client come to you and said, "Hey, well, like, what's this Rovo thing? Can we use it?"
I have one connection, but it's not my customer. But we are connected in the lesson community events, and this is the only one here in our area who's using Rovo now. So it's the only
Yeah, I
one.
feel like I also kind of experienced the same thing where I haven't seen a lot of people seeing the future and being like, "Oh, we need that today," like whatever we could do to get our hands on that, we want it. I feel like it's more of a tool that people see and they're like, I don't know if it'll help us cost extra money. I don't know how many people will utilize that feature in an organization, how much time we'll save. And there are teams using it. I know that there are a few that I've worked with that like Rovo and enjoy it. And, it's kind of like their chat GPT alternative, but also takes some action. But I haven't seen the real ask from clients before, even when I present it, I'm like, here's what it could do, here's the
Mm.
options. There's no draw to it for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the functionality is still too limited. And over time, once there's more adoption and more applications that can utilize it and take more action, maybe that's when it'll be a little bit more widespread. But yeah, I've kind of run across the same thing where there's not a lot of people asking for it.
Yeah, maybe you have to think about it. How many time Atlassian intelligence was on the beta version. So,
But
and I
yeah,
think it was. I don't know if it was 1 or 2 years. It was still AI is still beta version. So, maybe it's Robo. It's not even the beta. But maybe it takes some
yeah, it's
time.
not in beta, but the functionality is still not very robust. So the one of the big things that I think attract people to Rovo is the integration with marketplace apps. So if you're a developer, you can integrate Rovo to take action outside of Atlassian. So for example, I know there's one company that I've worked with before, Onward, and they integrated a chat in Rovo that can do onboarding and offboarding. So you could connect to your Workday, your Office 365, Google Workspace, and that agent can take action for you and create accounts for onboarding and offboarding. And
Can you
that's a great use
repeat it
case.
one more time? If I heard it right, Rovo can connect Workday and build
Yes,
an
in
onboarding and
theory.
offboarding workflow. Is it right?
Yes. So you can technically do it without Rovo, and I've done it before. A lot of clients that I've built onboarding and offboarding workflows, you can
Mm-hmm.
just preset automations, right? It'll pull smart values, create accounts. But
Mm-hmm.
the appeal with Rovo in the app that they've built is that it's more chat based. It's not necessarily an automation. So you give it the APIs for Workday, you give it the APIs for Office 365 and Google Workspace, and it looks at that ticket, it evaluates what needs to be done when you call it. It finds out what the individual's name is, what access they need to have, and it creates those accounts on your behalf. I don't know how well that functionality works today. The automations worked great. I've done those before, but I think that's the appeal, a big appeal of Rovo, that action outside of the Jira Atlassian world. Yeah,
Yes,
so
it's great because we're making also very much onboarding, offboarding, automations, and that's why it's interesting. Yeah, to hear it, to Rovo make it all for you. Yeah, nice.
yeah, that's the big. I think for myself, that's like the biggest appeal. And as of right now, there are a few apps that integrate with Rovo on the marketplace. I think there's 5 or 6, but compared to the total amount of apps that are available, that's a very, very small amount. So again, the concept of Rovo is really cool, as in it takes action for you in Atlassian as well as outside of Atlassian. But with the current implementation and like the feature set and what's available today, I think it's still very early and there's not a lot of functionality that you could get out of it. So I guess, for example, a couple of things that I might use it for are maybe marketing related items. Like it could go in and create like an event, like maybe a webinar for you. It can pull up some UTM links, create all those for you, can, automatically add that to your calendar. Some of that is possible and it might take some configuration to do, but it'd be cool if you could just download the app and it does everything for you. You just plug in your APIs and that's it. You call on it from the chat, and it's kind of like another virtual workmate, or someone who's taking action for you on your team. So that's the big appeal that I'm waiting for. I don't know if you have some kind of use cases that you're dreaming about, but eventually that's what I want to see.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, it sounds like it's already there.
Partially, but it's still early enough to where you get a fraction of things done, but you're like, man, like the potential of it's huge. It's just not doing it yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But hopefully eventually we'll see it a lot more robust and a lot more APIs and a lot more partners and app developers supporting, which I think they're on that track, since it's a new product that a lot of people will eventually want. I think if you're early and you do it right, there's a lot of potential there as a marketplace partner, or even as someone who's implementing these services. If you find those really great use cases, for example, writing documentation, right? You could receive a ticket, you could have robo agents jump in and look at the resolution that was provided and create documentation from that. That's really cool. Definitely saves some time, but it's more of a, is it justifiable for an organization to use Rovo, since it's relatively pricey to what it is, I guess, in a way. I don't know if you've had any price complaints on Rovo. I've kind of heard that as a pretty big drawback. It's requires, so if it's kind of like the other apps, right? So if you use JSM, you're paying for every agent that uses it. Same thing with Rovo. So every agent that you have is using a license, and it's, I think, around $30 a month. So it's not cheap. It's one of the more pricier Atlassian products, but it's definitely a big time saver if you find the right functionality for it.
If you got 50 agents, JSM, and you got Rovo, so how it is licensing this agent, you have to buy Rovo for 50, or you can buy maybe only 10 license and put a group on it. You know anything about this?
I think last I saw, it requires you to put everybody on it. So that was the other big drawback, where if you get Rovo, you buy everybody a license. So even if you want to use
Mm.
it yourself, you're buying the product for everyone.
Yeah. Okay, then it will be very, very expensive.
Tough pill to swallow. Yeah. It makes sense if you have a team of 10 and 9 out of 10 are going to use that Rovo chat religiously and get a bunch of use out of it, a lot of functionality, and save a lot of time. But if it's just you and it's 1 out of 10, you kind of start evaluating and thinking, is it worth the price that I'm going to pay?
Oh,
Like I use ChatGPT pretty consistently. Do you use like any AI tools on your daily basis for
Yeah,
work?
ChatGPT. We're thinking about more implementation from GPT tools to get summarized like our requirements. So we made us an workflow to get the requirements from the customers. So if we get a project, we make them a request type, and they put in their requirements as tickets to us. So we got a list, let's say 100 issues, with the whole requirements, maybe from 100 different users or 50 different departments to users each department. We get the requirements in a list, really with a predefined request type. And then our idea is to connect in GPT, custom GPT, who will check these requirements and give us an outcome, an output, so we don't have to analyze each issue. So let's, if we talk about maybe an service catalog, if you want to get your services, so you have to make requirement engineering, you have to get on the departments or requirements, and you have to check it. You have, if you question the name, you get the name, the criticality, service owner, fulfillment group. So you put so much information in it, and we don't have the time to go to each department and make an interview. So they get the request type, they can log in, give us the information. And in the past, we made it by us to get it in a catalog or maybe in assets, put it in assets. So, and now my idea is to get a custom GPT who will check it and put it in the right form. Yeah, and then it's done. Then you have it, and we don't have to make it manually. Maybe it will be a use case. We will we want to check it, so we got the idea last summer to create this, but we had no time to implement it, like the last 10% to get the custom GPT. But we are using as a JEP GPT, it's called, and we got our custom GPT. So every of my team, every employee use the same chat GPT bot. So we get a profit from each question we got. So it's learning. Yeah. Yeah. This is
That's a
how we're
cool use
using.
case.
Maybe sometimes we use Google Gemini,
Mhm.
but only if ChatGPT cannot find the right words. So if we get have to get more personality, we use Gemini. It's a little bit softer and not so techy. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that the same thing with ChatGPT. That's like the main one I use. And then recently I just started diving into Claude. I don't know if you've used that one before. It's kind of different. I thought they were all the same. Like in my mind, I was like,
Mm.
oh, it's just a different model, maybe slightly different, but the implementation's quite different from Claude in the sense that the primary thing that it does is it can also build interactive things while you prompt with it. So I could say, hey, take this PDF and create an interactive dashboard or report for me to look at and evaluate, what's happening here. Could be very long, could be a lot of information, and it can digest that really easily. So it actually builds things and runs things interactively while you're prompting it, which is super cool. And you can't really do that in ChatGPT, at least not easily. So using it for that use case, especially if you're a developer and you're maybe trying to run an app or a small portion of an app or a feature, it's very interesting that it could do that on the fly, and it's very, very fast at it too. So that's one thing that I've tried it for, and it's great. The writing I think isn't quite up to par as ChatGPT. I still use ChatGPT mostly, but for anything interactive, I tend to go to that now.
And how about DeepSeek?
I haven't really tried it honestly. I've played around with it here and there, but yeah, haven't given it enough of a test to be able to say I want to use it because I already pay for ChatGPT, so it's like if I'm paying for it, I might as well use it and get my use out of it. I know DeepSeek is very affordable or even free, but yeah, I haven't dived into it too deep. What about you? Have you tried it out yet?
No, but I got asked a few times now if I'm using it, if I tested it. That's why I'm asking you, because I got already asked this a few times, and now I don't even try it. Not one more. Not one time yet. Yeah.
I think the big thing with R1 is that, or DeepSeek, is that it's open source. So I have like a home lab back there, and my I was like kind of debating like it'd be cool to run your own AI instance. Maybe I'll still do it, but the idea of you could run your own AI, you could prompt your own AI, and you could customize it if you want to. Like super cool that you could run that locally and not need to call out to any servers or more complex things like that. But yeah, that was the one thing for me that was like a super cool implementation that I could do at home. You can't really do that with ChatGPT. I know there's other open source versions of AI that you can do it with, but it's not up to par. Whereas DeepSeek was like actually better in a lot of cases than ChatGPT. So the fact that you could run that locally to me was super cool. But to get the full fledged experience, you need a pretty beefy server and GPU to be able to run it. So I felt like it wasn't the version that I would install, probably wouldn't be as good anyway. And I'd end up using ChatGPT most of the time. But from an infrastructure perspective, if you're an organization, you use a lot of AI. I think if you run your own DeepSeek version, you could probably save a lot of money, right? So if you're paying for OpenAI's API, you're probably
Mhm.
spending a lot more than you would if you set up your own infrastructure, since DeepSeek is very easy to run.
Mhm.
That's a pretty big appeal, I think, for most organizations.
Yeah, it needs some time, so it needs some use cases, some testers, and if it's really good, so I think it will be growing very fast. Get
Yeah.
on one level with ChatGPT. Yeah.
And competition is always good, right? So if you have DeepSeek coming out and they're doing something different with a lot less compute power, that's huge, because then I'm guessing ChatGPT is going to do the same thing soon, and then Gemini is going to do the same thing, and then Claude has their own interactive interface. ChatGPT is probably going to do that at some point. So that competition is great. We're going to get a better product as consumers, so I'm always happy to see that. And the more competition, the better it is for us, and the more features we get.
Yeah. But what about Copilot?
I tried. It was too complicated to get it to work, so I just gave up.
But if we talk about Gemini and ChatGPT and DeepSeek, so we also have to.
Well, Copilot is based on ChatGPT, right? So
Yeah.
it's similar, whereas Gemini is its own. The same thing with like DeepSeek is its own. Copilot's just using the ChatGPT backend, so I'm guessing you'll see a pretty similar experience. But yeah, when I tried to jump in and purchase it, because I wanted to use it in Excel for some Jira importing related things and
Yeah.
modifying VLOOKUPs,
Yeah.
whatever else, I couldn't get it to work. I don't know. It was kind of weird. Is I had to go through
Same.
jump through some hoops with the like the billing info, and it didn't let me do it with my regular billing account, and it had to create a new one. And I was like, yeah, I'll just use ChatGPT.
But they got a market because it's Office. So
Yeah,
everyone is using the whole um, package of Office 365. So they had only to check it. We want to use Copilot, and it's there. It's working for big companies, maybe. Yeah.
yeah. I've seen a lot of companies use it because they're already in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
I'm pretty anti Office products, mostly because of Teams. I just hate Teams so much. I think it's
Yeah.
such a poorly designed product when comparing it to Slack. I don't know if you use Teams at all, but it's it's a pain.
I have to ask you. You say Teams is poor product design. Yeah, poor design product. Yeah, that's what it said. Okay.
I don't know if it's poorly designed, but the
Mhm.
functionality is slower and harder to utilize than Slack is. So that's the big thing for me.
Okay. Okay. So you have to, and you also really talk about Slack, because my question will be there. If you say poorly designed, so Jira is not sexy too. The old Jira on data center. So I have my customers and the users over so many years. They were talking about how unsexy this overview is in Jira. And in Confluence, we got their refined. So it was a little bit, um, yeah, more cool. Yeah, so I think,
Yeah, functionality matters more for sure,
yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah,
where
yeah, sure.
where I stumble with Teams. I kind of started my career as a systems admin, and I've used a lot of different chat products. And yeah, Slack is definitely the best. I would love to use Teams because it's already integrated, right? You could link it to your
Uh,
calendars. You can take meetings on there. It's already paid for because you're already in the suite. I like the idea of having it. It's just, and a real world environment, there's just no way it would work for what we use Slack for. Slack is, we have a ton of clients on Slack Connect. So we have a lot of people within our Slack channels that we use across organizations. We have a lot of applications that are integrated, a lot of workflows running with Slack. Half of that's probably not really possible with Teams. So again, I like the concept and idea of using less tools and maybe one central tool hub. But yeah, I feel like Office products are almost an afterthought sometimes. Some are good. Like Excel is great. I like using Excel. Outlook is mostly good most of the time for me. I know a lot of people hate Outlook too, but Teams for me is just so bad that it weighs down the entire suite of products.
In Germany it's a little bit different because here the most companies are using Teams or Microsoft tools. I have only one customer, one client who's using Slack. It's the only one. Yeah, it's the only one. And that's the reason why I'm using also Slack, because we got a channel and they can put their questions to our channel and the whole of my team can read it and can answer it. And the other customers, using only Microsoft. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the Slack versus Teams then as a Teams primary user?
I'm working
It's second nature.
It's with Slack. So we started with Slack, we made it channels, and we started thinking, maybe the tool will be cool for the customer. They can they don't have to contact us in each way or Teams or on call or make we are Calendly or anything. They will also put it in the Slack channel, and anybody from us can give them an answer. They don't like it. They don't like it's not Slack. It's the process. They want to connect to you. They want to speak with you. They want to talk with you, to give their problems. And if they write it in Slack and you answer it and you give them 2 screenshots and a short description, it's not that service they want to get. So it's we tested it, and even the one customer who have Slack, they contact us via Teams. So it's we tried it, but it was not working like we want to.
Yeah, that makes sense. If everybody's on Teams, it makes sense for yourself to be on Teams too.
Maybe
I think
it's here in
most
Germany,
companies here are Slack. Yeah, and then you have Teams is like growing pretty big in America. It's becoming way more widespread. But I think Slack is still more common, a little bit more common, but Teams is catching up pretty quick. I wouldn't be surprised if, in the next 5-10 years, it probably does take over at some point. It's free. People, it works fine for most people, and it's free. You're already paying for it. So getting rid of a pretty big cost of Slack is tempting for a lot of teams, that's for sure. What's your, love to hear your idea. What was your idea for Atlassian to implement?
Yeah. So I have to prepare 2 things. Sorry for the girl, the woman from Atlassian. I want to send her a Loom video. I not even done it until now. Maybe I will do it in a few days. We implemented it in 2016, so 9 years ago. This was not only my idea. I got another external consultant. We made it together both. And so think about product discovery. You have used it?
Yeah, I've used it.
Yeah. So we got product discovery, and before we had product discovery on the market, so we had to find a solution for product management on server on JavaScript. And there is one, I think there's one feature missing in product discovery, and that's why I want to give the information, the idea to Atlassian, because we implemented it on the server and data center, and I think it will be a very cool feature. Think about ideas from the whole company. Let's say you have 3 months, 6 months, every can put the idea in product discovery. So you got 100 tickets, 100 issues with ideas. And now we called it blind auditions. You have anonymized tickets. You had only the summary. You have only this summary. And you get a Kanban board. All ideas are in the middle. On the left, you got rejected on the right recommend, and then you go like Tinder. You read the summary and you decide swipe left or swipe right. And so you got maybe in a few minutes, you got 100 ideas, and you got also some conditions like you have 25 votes for an idea category. Let's say product categories, software categories, you got 10 votes maybe. Yeah, and then if you ask the employers or you get a blind audition and say, now we are making 2 weeks blind audition, everybody is allowed to vote. And after 2 weeks, you have from your 100 ideas, you have selected with blind auditions. So you also, if you will put Josh an idea in it, you have to think about my summary must be so good that everybody will swipe on the right side. Very easy. It was very cool. Everybody liked it because you can swipe. And it's not much time to make this. You got one board. There are Jira default features. And now I'm thinking it could be a cool feature for product discovery if you include this. Maybe you got some more features in it and not only swipe left, swipe right, more attributes, more conditions. Yeah, we got also an overview with script and UI fragments where you get a list from your ideas with the votes, because the votes are not like the vote in Jira. The vote is because the technology behind this one, you make a status switch if you swipe. And in this case, your username will be put in a user list. And that's how we count. So you know how much users put the swipe because the idea got so much users in the user list. That's the technology behind of this. Yeah, and it was a very cool, very smart, very simple, very easy solution with a Kanban board. It was last summer I got this. So I watched anything. No, I watched the Jira, how it's called, the YouTube channel from
I don't know.
Dr. Jara.
Oh,
And
Ape Tech?
the Jira Live, the Jira Live. There
Oh,
were
the Jira Life. Yeah.
one from Atlassian, and I watched it, and I said, okay, I will send her my idea from for product discovery because I think it could be a very nice advanced feature for product discovery. So yeah,
That's
if you
really
make
cool. Yeah,
auditions,
that's super creative. I've never heard of anything like that, but I could see how a lot of companies might enjoy that,
you
especially
can
from
you can imagine how it works. Yeah, how it looks like. Yeah, very easy, very cool. We think a lot about this, and maybe this consultant will see your podcast and will
we'll credit
remember
it to
it.
you.
Remember it. Maybe I will send it to him. I will not say now his name because I don't know if he will like it. But it was a very, very cool idea, cool solution.
So you
Yeah.
get royalties once this thing blows up and everybody's using it.
No, I think yeah, it would be cool if they implemented it and they would say, yeah, we got a nice idea from a partner because we are Jab Connect is already silver solution partner. We're on the way to get gold, less than gold solution partner. And maybe they can say, yeah, we got some new ideas from our partners and we've implemented it. Yeah. Because I think it's very easy because now you might in Kanban board and you can use it, but you have to integrate this in product discovery.
Yeah. No, it's a cool idea. I could see it as a really great, like even icebreaker. If you're doing like a company meeting, that could be the first thing on the docket and everybody's excited about it, kind of sees all the
Sure.
features and ideas.
Yeah, if you got a list of ideas and you have to transition issues, so now you got the idea, and if you got the right marketing in your company, and they say, yeah, we make it with blind auditions, we make it with the work how Tinder works, so everybody will like it. Yeah, very very cool.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, that's it.
That's
That
cool.
is
Yeah, that's a great
yeah.
idea. Why not create an app around it instead of pitching it to Atlassian?
If you want, create an app. I was thinking about it, but we are creating only apps for our customers because we don't. I don't have I cannot put it on the marketplace. I think I have not enough time for each update, for each bug, and anything. So our apps are only directly integrated in the customer instances, and that's the reason why we're not creating any app on it. But yeah, so I want to get the feature to give everybody the possibility to use such a feature. So that's why I have to talk to Atlassian and say maybe they will integrate it. Yeah.
Okay.
If you
It's a cool idea.
make it tomorrow and try it, if you try it and will see it, it will get more interesting for you. And then if you
That's
think
true.
about a company with 1,000 employees and everybody got one idea and they get in the blind auditions, and then you're swiping it, and I think this is the way how you can get very fast, very cool information from, let's say, 1,000 people, what they think about your idea. So, so you got maybe some kind of market and you see it. Depends on what your company does. If you got only, I think, let's say if you got only IT consultants, so it's maybe not the best audition, but if you got maybe you got marketing, you got HR, you got IT, maybe you're producing anything, so you got much different people, and then I think it makes sense to make it internally, and you got your products. Maybe you will discover new products, you will know how the people outside think about it. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's it.
wouldn't be surprised if either Atlassian implements this or if another app developer
Yeah.
out of nowhere comes up with this idea and we see an app next week on the App Store for
Yeah.
something like this.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
it
will
can be
love it.
called. It can.
Now I'm thinking to me, you got a name, Feature Tinder. Yeah, that's cool. This can be done. Yeah, Feature Tinder. Very cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining the podcast. How can people
Yeah,
find you? LinkedIn, maybe website.
I appreciate for the invitation. People can find me on LinkedIn. So it's not Shem, it's Przemysław Wiesolka. Maybe we'll put it in the notes or
It'll
anything.
probably be in the description.
Yeah, and in description or Jab Connect, that's the company. Yeah, I'm the CEO of Jab Connect. We are 5 consultants. We are making some very cool things. So we are fun to make new things, to create new features, to create cool features, maybe features anybody else have done now. Yeah, that's how we work. And yeah, LinkedIn is there. You will find it. Yeah.